Hi everyone and welcome back to LL Sports TV. Hope you're all doing well today. So, people, what I'm now referring to as Isak Gate, namely the Alexander Isak transfer saga, appears to have taken a new and dramatic turn. It seems that Alexander Isak has now issued a formal statement, which he issued before the PFA Awards. And in the statement, he's publicly addressed his situation with Newcastle United. The statement was posted on Isak's social media page, and he has sought to provide his side of the story, which has been obviously been the subject of much speculation during the transfer window. I've got the statement here. It's quite short, and if you'll indulge me, I'll read it verbatim. So here goes, right? So he starts off by saying, I'm proud to be recognised by my fellow professionals with a place in the PFA Premier League Team of the Season for 24-25 season. First and foremost, I want to thank my teammates and everyone at Newcastle United who has supported me along the way. I'm not at the ceremony. With everything going on, it didn't feel right to be there. He goes on to say, I've kept quiet for a long time while others have spoken. That silence has allowed people to push their own version of events, even though they know it doesn't reflect what was really said and agreed behind closed doors. The reality is that promises were made and the club has known my position for a long time. To now act as if these issues are only emerging is misleading. When promises are broken and trust is lost, the relationship cannot continue. That's where things are for me right now and why change is in the best interest of everyone, not just myself. He signs off Alexander Isak. So that's a statement in verbatim. So what do we make of that statement then? So basically what Isak has said is that his relationship with Newcastle can't continue. It's totally broken down, and he's put that down to promises that were broken and a loss of trust. He obviously said there that he remained quiet for a long time while others have spoken, and that allowed other people to push their version of events, which obviously he's disputing. He also says that the club has known his position for a long time and that it was misleading of the club to act as if the issues are somehow new. He also claimed that the club had known about his desire to leave for a long time and that their version of events doesn't reflect what had been agreed between him and the club behind closed doors. And he concluded that a change is necessary, not just for him, but in the best interest of everyone. So I guess what everybody will be thinking now is what exactly are these promises that were that Isak is saying it was broken? According to reports, it would appear that the promises that were broken relate to a revised contract offer that he was told would be presented to him last summer. I believe it also relates to money, but I can't confirm that. And that's just something I've heard over the past week or two. And it's interesting that shortly after Isak's post, Newcastle were on it straight away, and they've issued a firm rebuttal. And basically what they've said is that they've expressed disappointment first and foremost with Isak's social media post. Newcastle have reiterated that no commitment was ever made to allow Isak to leave the club this summer. The club stressed that Isak is still under contract to them, and that no conditions of a sale have been met in order to enable a transfer. So that's important to note that. I mean, my personal thoughts is that obviously I don't think Isak conducted himself in the best possible way. I mean, that goes without saying. This whole thing has got really messy and dramatic. Although I would say this, I mean, personally, I wish that Isak would have addressed this publicly sometime sooner. I mean, I know some people have said it's best to keep his counsel, but me, in this modern day and age of social media and greater transparency, I do think his interests would have been better served if he'd have tried to get in front of this story sooner. I think he could have issued some kind of statement to get his side of the story out there, and so as to ameliorate his position, really. I would also say, though, that with regards to the promises that Isak talks about, well, first and foremost, I was brought up to believe that a promise is a comfort to a fool. I've been told that from when I was a young child, and that is definitely an old adage that rings true to this day. And if there was such a promise, You can't rely on verbal agreements in life. We all know that. Um, if a promise was made, Isak should have requested that that promise be made in writing and that the promise is legally binding. So that's what I would say on that. I mean, it would be interesting to see exactly what these promises entail. I guess we will never really know, but that is my views on that. If you're in a working situation with somebody, if you work for somebody and your boss promises you something, it's in your interest to get that promise in writing, some kind of document be drawn up, so you can refer back to it at a later date if you need to. Um, but what happens next? I mean, first and foremost, it's pretty obvious now that Alexander Isak and Newcastle, that relationship is it's totally untenable. I do think it's in the interest of all concerned that Isak is sold as soon as possible. Hopefully, before the end of the current transfer window, which ends at September the 1st. But it'll be interesting to see what happens next. I mean, obviously, I don't think the Newcastle fans are going to be happy with what's gone on here. Basically, the player has gone on strike and he's doubling down, and that's not going to please the Newcastle supporters. And I can understand their ire. I mean, if I was a Newcastle fan, I would be most upset about this too. But we do have to also, you know, take into account that there are two sides to every story, sometimes three. So, it's very simple for people who are not directly involved in the situation to cast our views and cast our aspersions. But straight away, when I saw how this was unfolding, I said to a number of people that the way Isak's behaving seems out of character to what we know about him. Obviously, we don't know him personally, but it did seem out of character. Isak comes across as quite a introverted, mild-mannered person, not given to extravagance, not given to histrionics. So to see him behave in this way was a little bit of a departure from what I saw him to be. And I couldn't help but think that, obviously he's had his head turned by the Liverpool speculation, which again is natural. And I've said on previous forums that I don't blame the player for seeking a move to Liverpool, or if not seek the move, or entertaining a move to Liverpool. It's what players do. He's a young, ambitious player. Players have egos. Players want to win things. He's done really, really well for Newcastle. He's scored lots of goals. He's helped them win a trophy, their first trophy in God knows how many years. He probably wants to move on to what he feels will be an environment that will win him bigger trophies and, catapult his career to the next level. You simply cannot blame a player for that. How he's gone about it, though, is another matter. But what I'm saying is that I never saw Alexander Isak in this light, and I can only imagine that something has happened somewhere that he's not happy with. And again, we don't know the ins and outs of the situation. But yeah, so it'd be interesting to see what happens next. I mean, surely he's not going to stay at Newcastle, although obviously they hold his registration. And if he's not sold before September the 1st, then he will remain a Newcastle player. And at some point, whether he likes it or not, he's going to have to pull on that shirt and play for the club. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure there'll be further updates. That's all from me in terms of what's happened at the moment. But yeah, it's not a very nice situation. I mean, everyone's talking about it, and lots of football fans and others are doing videos about it. But in a way, it's quite sad the way this has all turned out, and I hope that some kind of resolution which suits all parties can be sought soon. But yeah, that's all from me right now. Let me know what you think. Please put it in the comments. How do you think that Isak has behaved? What do you make of this latest statement? What do you think will happen next? What do you think Newcastle will do now? Yeah, very interesting. Thanks so much for watching the video. Really appreciate it. If you're new to the channel, please like, share and subscribe. I'll catch you on the next one. I am out.